Hi everyone, my name is Taryn and welcome back to another episode of the Man to Man Coverage Podcast. I have my good friend and co-host Mason.
What's up, guys?
And today we're ranking the first round quarterbacks from 2015 through 2020. With draft season coming up, I thought this would be an appropriate video to do. If you're on the YouTube version, you can see the little chart we have. If you're on audio, we will explain it. So different levels we have are future Hall of Famer, perennial top 10, good, okay, and bust. And let's get started. So Mason, where do you have Jameis Winston, the first quarterback on this list, selected by the Buccaneers, number one overall, now a Saint, but where would you put Winston on the list?
Um, this one's tough, but I think I would go like okay for Winston because I don't think he's a complete bust because I feel like he does have his moments where he can make a big play. He's had seasons where he's thrown for 5,000 yards. And he's looking to be the starter for the Saints, so I'd just put him in the okay category, up to this point.
The thing with Winston is he's very inconsistent. There's moments where he looks like he could be playing out top 10 or good, and I would put him in good, but 2 seasons ago, he just was throwing the ball over the place. He also has character issues, but there's moments where he seems like a great team leader. He's a very interesting quarterback. A lot of these quarterbacks, I think we can tell who they are by now, but Winston, I don't know. I think there's a chance he moves up. Do you agree, Mason?
Yeah, I think if he proves this year that he can limit the turnovers and just provide more efficient play, I think he could definitely move up to good. And if the Saints are a surprise team next year,
Yeah, that's something that could happen with Sean Payton's play calling. One thing I will say is to the fact that, we'll see how Winston utilizes weapons. He's had a lot of great pieces over his career. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin in Tampa Bay. Now he has Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara with the Saints. I really want to see if he gets into a groove. I honestly think a lot of these quarterbacks, these first couple quarterbacks on this list are on different teams. And I think for Winston, this is kind of a prove it year with the Saints. If he goes out there, plays well, he probably has a future. If not, I could see him as a backup because he has kind of backup tendencies.
yeah, I completely agree. I think up to this point, it's like this is one of his last chances to prove if he can be a full-time starter. But if not, I think he'd be a suitable backup for a lot of teams. Maybe a guy that can come in a couple weeks if your quarterback is down and maybe get you a couple wins. Um, but still an okay quarterback. Definitely not like a complete bust, but he still has potential to grow because he's still very young.
He does. If he becomes a free agent, I'd love to see the Ravens offer him a deal because I feel like he brings something different to the table than Lamar Jackson, so you can do some trick stuff with him.
Hmm.
Moving on to Marcus Mariota, I'll take the helm on this one first. I'm putting him in the OK tier. Mariota is a very interesting quarterback because for me, he's had bad situations. His coaching staff have not been that great, and he's never had the number one wide receiver. However, though, I feel like Mariota is someone who shows the potential. He just never really hits those big plays. He's always someone who flashes. He has moments where against the Eagles, he beat them in overtime in 2018, a game I always hate as an Eagles fan, but great job by Mariota. You had a moment in 2017 when he beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. You have moments of Mariota where he looks really good. The thing is, though, I just feel like he's a very safe quarterback, and he's never been someone who's going to really expand the field. So I think he's an okay quarterback. I thought he looked good with the Raiders last year. I think Mariota has a very particular set of skills. Winston and Mariota are very different, where Winston, you don't know what you're getting. He's either going to throw 5 touchdowns or 5 picks. That's Jameis Winston. Mariota, you're kind of getting a baseline guy. He is kind of like a lesser Andy Dalton. That's how I view Mariota. I like his mobility. I think he's a perfect backup, but I think he's an okay tier for now. I don't see him really going any higher.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think Mariota, he's had a lot of chances to prove. He's had some really big moments, but I feel like he's consistent, but not like a consistently good quarterback. He's just been pretty much average his whole career. As well as I feel like he really hasn't been given enough opportunities with the Titans, I feel like, because when he got benched in favor of Ryan Tannehill, that's when they started utilizing Derrick Henry correctly. That's when AJ Brown started playing really good. It's just like Mariota really didn't get a good opportunity like some of these other quarterbacks got. But I feel like overall he still has his good moments, like in the playoffs against the Chiefs. That was a big game he had where he threw a touchdown to himself. Um, I believe in his second year, that was his best year. He played really good then, very efficient, but overall just pretty average.
Yeah, I think average is a good word to describe him, Mason. I will disagree with you that you said as soon as Ryan Tannehill came in, the Titans offense clicked. I think that's because Tannehill's way better off of play action than Mariota, and Tannehill's more accurate, but I do see what you mean. Mason, where would you put Jared Goff, the former Rams quarterback, now with the Lions? Where would you
Um,
put him?
this one's kind of tough, but I'd put him probably in good because I think he's better than Winston and Mariota up to this point. His contract's not ideal, but this isn't based off contract. This is just based off how they play, and I feel like Jared Goff gets a lot of hate. And I feel like that is just because of his big contract, but I feel like as a football player, he still has great qualities. I mean, his play action game is phenomenal. Sometimes he's a little too conservative with the ball, doesn't really take enough chances, but I definitely feel like he's been a good quarterback for the Rams. I mean, he took him to the Super Bowl. Sean McVay helped out a ton, but you still have to give credit where credit's due. Goff had a fantastic year that year. And it's not like he's been a horrible quarterback. I mean, his worst years as a quarterback are still years that a lot of people would aspire for just because he throws like 20 touchdowns, 10 picks, nothing flashy, but I definitely think he's been good up to this point.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Mason. I like how you said he needs to get more credit for that Super Bowl run. He was very good in it. I don't know if you know that Chiefs game from that season, which was insane.
Hmm.
You had that game against the Vikings where he just was really good. The thing is that Goff is just kind of typical quarterback size, pocket mover, arm talents, just kind of all good. He's a smart quarterback, but he's not someone who's going to extend the play a lot like a Mahomes, a Rodgers, a Wilson, or someone else. So I think good is fair. How do you think he does in Detroit? Because I'm interested by that. I think it could work out. I could also see it not. I think this is going to be very interesting to see him with the Lions.
Depending on what they do in the draft, I think he can play very solid, but I think if he doesn't like I don't know, it depends on how he transitions because I feel like some quarterbacks are better at transitioning than others, like um for example, Tom Brady transitioned perfectly with the Buccaneers. But then you have other guys who go to new teams and really don't transition well. That's what I'm a little bit concerned about with Goff is if he can really make that transition without McVay and without some good offensive pieces. So I think he'll probably just stay the same. I really don't see him going too far up, and I really don't see him becoming this like horrible quarterback.
Yeah, I agree, Mason. So I'm going to have Carson Wentz, and I'm going to put him in perennial top 10. Now, here's what I mean by that. For me, if you look at Wentz's career, 2016 rookie year, pretty decent. Had an MVP season. Season after that, had some great moments. Was injured, yes, but was great. He was then a fantastic quarterback the year after getting the Eagles to the playoffs. Now, this past year, he was bad, but for me, there's just a lot going on. I think Carson Wentz has talent to be there, and he has shown it. I think that's why I'm putting him here. He's a very physical quarterback. He can move in the pocket. He has the arm. He's kind of like what you want with Winston, except he's a lot more controlled. I know he had a bad season, but I think that was more of the Eagles and Wentz. I'm excited for him to be with the Colts, and I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback from here on out. I think that he's going to be someone who's going to be up there in the conversation as maybe number 8, 7, 6. And I think he's been top 10 twice in his career.
Yeah, no, I'd actually agree with that. I feel like Wentz gets a lot of hate, just because of this previous year, but I feel like Um, everything that happened within that Eagles organization was just horrible for every single player. I mean, they openly tanked the last game. They benched Jalen Hurts, which I know it doesn't involve Wentz, but that's just an example of like how dysfunctional they were, with Doug Peterson there. As well as like that offensive line was brutal. I mean, it couldn't stay
Oh
healthy.
man, oh no, not the offensive line.
I mean, they had I think they had the most different offensive lineups changes last year. The receivers as well couldn't stay healthy, and even if they were all healthy, they're not these super dynamic receivers. You know, you have a 34-year-old Deshaun Jackson, a rookie Jalen Rager, and a washed Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, that's just not gonna get it done for a guy like Wentz, who also has to run for his life. Um, and I feel like with the Colts, he's going to have a resurgence year. I really truly believe that he will be one of the most improved players this upcoming year, just because he's going into a very stable organization, a really good head coach. I like Frank Reich a lot, and that offensive line is phenomenal. And I really am excited to see how he does this year. But yeah, I agree with the perennial top 10.
Yeah, I'm glad we agree, Mason. That Eagles team was painful. Nothing with Wentz. I think what oh what makes him top 10 is he has those abilities, and we've seen those highlight plays and the consistency in the years he had them. So that's why I have him there. Paxton Lynch is a bust. Moving on, Mitchell Trubisky. Okay, all jokes aside, Paxton Lynch, I can't even say his name right. He's that forgettable. But um, Paxton Lynch is a bust. He was just terrible. He's supposed to be kind of this physical quarterback. I saw some Ben Roethlisberger stuff, but Lynch just could not get it done. He's very inaccurate. When you get these stronger arm guys, you could get a Matthew Stafford where they're really good, or Philip Rivers or Mahomes are going to get Blake Bortles. And you kind of got Blake Bortles, but worse. Lynch just can never get anything going. He's way too inconsistent. And in the Broncos system that had guys like DT, Demarius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, it was a very rhythm based offense. And he couldn't hit it. So I think he's in the bust tier.
Yeah, no, this is by far the easiest one so far. Paxton Lynch absolutely proved nothing. I'm gonna be harsh. I'm gonna be harsh on the guy just because not only like you said, he's just very inconsistent. He's not accurate. It's not even his football play that really like makes me call him a bust. I just remember when he was having these struggles with the Broncos, he would prefer playing video games over watching film and like practicing, which is just like mind-boggling to me
Really?
because yeah, I remember this report coming out. That's why the Broncos were so frustrated, is because he was literally focused more on playing video games than like watching film or improving as a quarterback. And he had potential, but it's not like he came in the league and was this big hot shot like, other guys who come into the league, like Andrew Luck and stuff like that. This guy had to develop and actually become good, but he decided like he just didn't have the work ethic to do it, and that's why he ended up being in the league for what, like 3 years, maybe. Um, he started a couple games. I mean, he actually had some drives where it was like pretty impressive, but then just overall, he just didn't have the work ethic or the skill set to get it done.
Yep, good way to describe it. Very similar to Jamarcus Russell, famous Raiders bust.
Hmm.
Mitchell Trubisky, I'm going bust. Yes, Trubisky has had moments where he's looked good, but for me, you trade up, you give him a high pick, and he's really not done anything for you. At least, Mariota and Winston, they're in the okay tiers because Mariota won you a playoff game and Winston had some moments, but Mitchell Trubisky is a bust. He is someone who has a lot of traits, but he can't do anything well. His accuracy is very inaccurate, and I feel like he's a very bad deep ball thrower. He's not someone in rhythm. And when you want a quarterback, you at least want someone who can at least hit an open route. I don't feel like you have that in Trubisky. He also is a really bad with turnovers. The Bears have had a lot of good teams defensively, and as long as he played safe and smart, they would do great. But Trubisky was always turning the ball over. He was costing the Bears wins. You trade up for him, and he did not work out at all. He's become infamous in the NFL for being one of the worst quarterbacks. I'm putting Trubisky in the bust category, and I think that's where he's at. I don't think he's going to change that.
Yeah, I think Trubisky is definitely a big bust. It baffles me how he ended up being in the 2018 Pro Bowl. Um, I don't know how that happened or who let that happen, but this guy, quite frankly, it's harsh, but he's not good. It's not even like I'm just following the hype train of, oh, he's not good. Like I've watched Bears games and he just doesn't have it. I don't know if you remember this, Tanner, but I think it was against the Packers. I don't think it was this year. Maybe it was this year. So he rolled out right. He had Jimmy Graham wide open for a touchdown, and Jimmy Graham was throwing up his hands.
Yeah,
Mitch
I saw
Trubisky,
that.
yeah, Trubisky looked him dead in the eyes, decided not to throw to a wide open receiver in the touchdown, then threw it across the field, and it was like an incompletion or something. And that was just like, okay, well, like I don't even know how you can defend that. Like if you're a quarterback in the NFL, you have to make that throw. And there's just plenty of other times like Daryl Mooney, who's been a really good young receiver for the Bears. He's had many times this past year where he got really open with his good route running, and then Trubisky will just overthrow him. Stuff like that. He is also a guy who can't get his receivers open, where you see guys like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, they can, and like not even like good guys like that are Hall of Famers, like Carson Wentz, for example. He can get his receivers open by throwing them the ball and leading them. And Trubisky really doesn't do that. And overall, I just think he's a bust.
Yeah, and he hasn't improved at all. Look at him his rookie year. Even till now, it's the same thing. He's just so inaccurate. I think that he's a
Hmm.
very physically talented player,
Hmm.
but instead of using that to his advantage, he just has really bad technique. I think he's a really probably the worst technical quarterback on this list, in my opinion. Even Paxton Lynch mechanics weren't great, but he was only in the league like 2 years. Trubisky has been in it about like three, four, five, and you still see the same mistakes. Patrick Mahomes, we're going to put Mahomes in future Hall of Famer. Keeping this brief, he's been incredible. He can make every throw you want to very accurately. I think one thing about Mahomes is that yes, you watch the highlight plays. They're amazing. They're excellent. He has that rocket arm, but he's also a very smart quarterback too. He's not turning the ball over. He reads the field very well. It's like the best of Brett Favre with that rocket arm and the best of Peyton Manning. I think the reason the Chiefs have won a lot of games is because Mahomes is so smart and he can just keep the play going. And in the NFL, that's super important. He does everything at a high level, and I think he's future Hall of Famer easily.
Yeah, this one's a no-brainer. He's a future Hall of Famer. He has potential to be one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He has everything you want in a quarterback. I mean, he's a great leader, great locker room guy. Never talks bad about his teammates. Can make every single throw, can make every single play. There's very little cons to him. Um, and he's gonna be one of the best quarterbacks in the league until he retires, like for sure. He's a fantastic quarterback.
He is. It's just unreal at moments watching him.
Hmm.
Deshaun Watson, oh boy. Let me keep this quick. Future Hall of Famer. Baker Mayfield, I think. So I have a hot take about Baker Mayfield. I Here's my thing, Mason. I'm gonna put Baker Mayfield in future Hall of Famer. Here's why, okay?
Okay.
So my thing is with Mayfield is that um, I think the Browns are gonna win the Super Bowl with him eventually, and I think Mayfield's gonna be this guy who's in the league for like 10, 12 years, racks up good numbers, and will get into the Hall of Fame one day because he brought that hope back to Cleveland. And besides that, he's a really great quarterback. Yeah, he had one bad year. They had Freddie Kitchens calling the plays. For me, Mayfield, what he does well is he's a very sharp thrower. He has a very quick release on the ball, and he can really get the ball into tight windows. I think that he's someone who's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. I think he's going to get the Browns a Super Bowl trophy, and I think he's going to be very consistent. We saw that this previous year where he was pretty consistent throughout it. Um, I mean, I could move him down to perennial top 10, but just looking at his career, I feel like he's someone that one day is going to end up in the Hall of Fame. I don't know about first ballot, but get there eventually. He's very similar to Philip Rivers. Both Mayfield and Rivers have great deep balls. They're very accurate. They're well built quarterbacks, and Rivers was in the league for a lot of years. He was very good, very consistent, and I see Mayfield being very similar to that. So that's my case for Baker Mayfield, and just his improvement from the two seasons is great. And then when things were bad last year, he kept his head high up. I've always liked his personality, so I have him in future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hot take, but I definitely see where you're coming from because I definitely agree with you that he's gonna be a guy that's gonna put up a lot of stats in his entire career, and that could just let alone get him in the Hall of Fame. But I also agree. I think at some point, I feel like he's gonna be a Browns for life. I feel like he's a very loyal person,
Yeah.
especially that organization. I do feel like he'll get them a ring at some point. I feel like him and Nick Chubb are a dynamic duo. I love Kevin Stefanski as the coach. So I'm not going to disagree with you because I definitely could see it. I feel like he could be like a Philip Rivers, maybe a Carson Palmer if he ends up in the Hall of Fame. Someone like that who just
Ooh,
has like this
okay.
has like the stats, you know. Um because I agree. I think he's going to be consistent. I don't know if he'll ever have that MVP year like Rivers and Palmer haven't. But even Breeze doesn't have an MVP, and he'll be a Hall of Famer. But just someone like that that's been consistent his whole career. He did have that one bad year, but I feel like that's hard to judge him off of because Freddie Kitchens is like horrible, like not good.
Yeah,
So
that was terrible.
you can leave him in there. I like that. Keep it
Yeah.
spicy.
I don't know who. I don't know if he'll win MVP. Do you know who has an MVP though? Mason Sean Alexander, very underrated running back. Before we move on, if y'all are wondering why we moved past Deshaun Watson, he's been accused of off the field stuff. So I feel like the less we say, the better. Sam Darnold is going in the okay tier. Um, he's not bust, and here's why. I think Darnold has shown some moments his rookie year. I don't know if you remember this game, Mason, but it was like Darnold and the Jets versus Aaron Rodgers and the Packers his rookie year. Is like later in this season, Darnold looked really good, and he's had moments where he's flashed. I think you gotta blame a lot of the stuff with Darnold is the Jets and how bad they've been. But I think Darnold has potential. He's a very physical quarterback. He moves around well. He's very accurate. I was never super high on Sam Darnold coming out because this was the year I really started focusing on the NFL draft, and I like Mayfield more than Darnold, and Darnold was fine. I think Darnold could move up if he gets traded to a team like the Bears, Washington Panthers. But he's an okay quarterback. He doesn't really do anything that pops off the screen, but I think he does some stuff well. And he's a really great guy as well. So that's, I think, a big plus there.
Yeah, I agree with the okay. I feel like it's hard to judge him at this point. The 4 years he has been with or has it been four? I think it's been three, excuse me. 3 years he's been with the Jets. Um, to say the least, it's been extremely dysfunctional. Todd Bowles, a fantastic defensive coordinator, taking nothing away from him, but he's really not head coaching material, especially not offensively. And then Adam Gase, that was just a nightmare. He's not good, to say the least. And I really hope he gets traded because there's some plays he makes that are like
Really
Mahomes
good.
esque, like not like as good as Mahomes, but he'll have like a play or two that I'm just like blown away by. I remember this one specifically. It was against the 49ers. He was like rolling left. It was off his back foot, and he made like a pass that was like beautifully placed on the opposite side of the field. It looked like it was just like, oh my gosh, this is the potential he has. He just really hasn't had it. I think no offense to Frank Gore, Le'Veon Bell, but they have had fantastic careers. But I mean, those have been his best playmakers, pretty much alongside him, along with like Quincy Enunwa, who's been pretty solid, and Jamison Crowder. But no big time receiver like some of these other guys have been given. So I feel like he's really been in a bad situation. Oh, his offensive line has also been horrible. Um, and I feel like he's just been okay. There are some times though where I can't excuse some stuff he does, like he'll turn over the ball
Yeah.
quite a bit, a couple games where it's like, what are you doing? But I feel like if he gets traded, like you said, to the Panthers or Bears or Washington football team, I think they could get some potential out of him.
Yeah, well said, Mason. I agree. You hit that on the head really well. Josh Allen's going perennial top 10. For me, Allen does have that upside. You see it. His deep ball is one of the best. His ability to manipulate the pocket and have people open is great. He really throws his wide receivers open. We've seen that with the Bills. The thing is, though, that Allen can be inconsistent. We've seen it a couple of years now where sometimes those inaccuracies do happen. I think there's going to be years where Josh Allen's in the MVP conversation and years where he dips off a bit, but I think he's going to be perennial top 10. Very similar to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, there's been moments where he's been in the MVP conversation, moments when Russell Wilson's not been in the MVP conversation, but is still top 10, and that's where I have Josh Allen. I like what the Bills have with Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and Emmanuel Sanders, and I like how we see Allen's accuracy deep with Diggs and then more short with Beasley. But I just want him to be. There's still some plays I'm like, oh no, with him. But I've him perennial top 10. I really like watching him play. He's a very fun quarterback to watch, but I have him in perennial top 10.
Yeah, I agree. He's really exciting to watch. It's also been good to see he's improved every single year,
He
uh,
has.
which is a good sign. You know, you always want your quarterback improving. That just hopefully means they have a bright future ahead of them. Josh Allen had a great year this past year, and I think he's going to definitely be a top 10 quarterback for as long as he continues to play at this level. Um, him with Diggs is a fantastic duo, and it's really fun to watch. One of the strongest arms, if not the strongest arm, in the NFL as at the moment. I agree with you though. There's still inconsistencies. I feel like he still has a problem limiting turnovers, but I feel like he'll just keep getting better at that over time. But I really like the perennial top 10 pick.
Yeah, I'm glad we agree. I do want to see him show that consistency that he can eliminate the turnovers because consistency is big in the NFL. In my opinion. Josh Rosen is a bust. I want to keep this one short here. The thing with Rosen is I never liked his attitude. He was way too over his head. He was cocky. I felt like he never just fully put anything into what he was doing. And he's not really a great passer. He has deep balls lacking. His release is kind of slow. And yeah, the teams he was on, the Cardinals and the Dolphins, were bad at the time, but as a quarterback supposed to boost your team, I just don't like that much about Rosen. His career's done, which is unfortunate, most likely done, which is unfortunate, but I feel like some of that has to do with the way he approached football and how he took the wrong approach. That's all I have to say about Josh Rosen.
Yeah, coming from a Cardinals fan, he's a bust. Kind of disappoints me. I really want to see him succeed wherever he goes, but I feel like up to this point, he's just going to be a career backup because I still think he has some decent qualities in him. But I completely agree with you. His attitude really sucked. I remember an interview too saying like he said like if football doesn't work out for me, I'll just go to tennis or something like that because he's also a good tennis player. But like I don't like that attitude. I don't like if someone has a backup plan because I want your main plan to be being a good quarterback no matter what the circumstances are. With the Cardinals, I'll give them a break because we were the worst team in the National Football League that year. But then he went to the Dolphins and they gave him a lot of opportunities. And I understand they're not amazing either, but they're still miles ahead better than the Cardinals were at that point. Um, and he really didn't show anything either. He made the same mistakes. His decision making was like horrendous. He couldn't read a defense. And overall, I feel like his opportunity is pretty much done for, especially with his attitude.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mason. I even think the Cardinals, he had opportunities and he just didn't really take advantage of it.
Hmm.
Lamar Jackson is super tough because he's won an MVP and he's great, and he's fast, which is fun to watch, and that's great. The thing that gets me concerned about Lamar is he's not the most accurate thrower when he needs to be extending the play. He's very good at like, oh, getting the ball quickly. The thing that worries me about Lamar is that I feel like one time it's going to be like the Cam Newton effect. Cam Newton, MVP, could run the ball, rocket arm. He was one of the best NFL quarterbacks in 2015, 14, around there. Now he's fallen off. And I could see the same thing with Lamar Jackson. Jackson's fast. Yeah, he doesn't have a rocket arm. He has a nice release. So, with that being said, I'm going to put him in perennial top 10 for now. We'll see where it goes. But as a Ravens fan, um, I'm very kind of concerned to see how this one goes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's top 10. There are concerns with his passing, as well as like when he gets older and slower, is he going to still be good in the NFL? Having to rely on his arm more. Big question mark for him. So I don't know if I could put him in Hall of Fame yet, but I definitely think he has potential to reach there. He also has to play better in the postseason. I feel like his rookie year, obviously, you can't judge too much off that. It's his rookie year. His MVP year, he really fell apart. The whole team fell apart. This past year he did improve though. He got a win, and then they played the Bills, and they only put up 3 points, I think, and I don't know if that's gonna cut it for um the rest of his career.
Yeah, I like Lamar's rookie year. He beat teams like the Falcons, Buccaneers, Chargers, but he did also have some issues. So we'll see if Jackson goes. Kyle Murray's perennial top 10. He's really fun to watch. He's really quick with his feet. His release is fast. Everything he does is fast. He processes defenses really fast. He's really fun to watch. It's just, I want to see more from Kyle Murray. Can he get the Cardinals to the big game? I think even if he goes to the Super Bowl and loses, that's fine. I just want to see him get the Cardinals there and execute in big moments. But he's a great team player, and it's nice that the Cardinals have a franchise QB.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I agree with the perennial top 10. Now, if we're talking later down the road and he wins the Cardinals the Super Bowl, I definitely think he's a Hall of Famer, kind of like the Baker Mayfield thing, because the Cardinals have never won a Super Bowl, and he's like the franchise savior. But for now, I'm just gonna go perennial top 10 because he has so much potential. And I think he'll just be top 10 for most of his career.
Yeah, that's well said, Mason. Daniel Jones, I'm going to put him good. I actually like Daniel Jones more than most people. He's mobile. He's fairly accurate. I like his deep ball. And I think he's done pretty serviceable things with the Giants. I think that met, he's done better things with them than people expected. I'm also going to rate Dwayne Haskins a bust because a lot of people, including myself, like, oh, the Giants should have gone Haskins. They go Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been a good quarterback, while Haskins has been a bust. Haskins is not putting that work ethic. I think he's most likely done. So that's what to say about those two. I just wanted to do them together because they're very interesting to see how that played out.
Yeah, I think Daniel Jones is in the good category just because I feel like he has improved somewhat. There's still a ton of times where I'm just like shaking my head because I feel like he could be a lot better. Um, but I feel like he can be fine in the right system. And today's gonna, or not today, but this year is gonna be really telling. If he stays the same, I don't think he'll be with the Giants much longer. But if he improves, I think that's something to look forward to for Giants fans. And then Haskins, this is easy. He doesn't have a work ethic. He wasn't even good when he played. It's an easy bust for Haskins.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I liked him coming out. It's just he didn't put in any effort. Joe Burrow's perennial top 10 in my opinion. I really loved watching his rookie season. The more I watch, he just does everything so well. He's very accurate over the short and middle of the field, and he has that beautiful deep ball placement. I think he's going to be someone who is going to become more popular in the years to come. So that's what I'll say about Burrow. And we'll go with the rest of the quarterbacks here. Tua, I think is good. I like him more than most people. He has a very quick release. The thing that's with Tua that's kind of concerning is his deep ball placement. I don't love it, and sometimes his decisions making off, but I think you need to take time on him. The fact that some people are saying the Dolphins should consider a quarterback is a crazy idea. Justin Herbert, I'll put perennial top 10. I think Herbert could honestly win MVP in the upcoming season or so. He has the arm strength to do it and the accuracy, and he has the talent around him. It's just can he clean up on his mistakes? And then Jordan Love for the Packers, I have undecided. So, Mason, what's your thoughts on this most recent class, first round quarterbacks?
I'm gonna clump Burrow and Herbert together because I completely agree. I think uh they they've been pretty good. Burrow's been super professional since day one
Mm-hmm.
since he's been in the league. Herbert's been a very, very great young player. I think Herbert has potential to be a future Hall of Famer if he just keeps working on his game and improving. Tua, I feel like he gets a lot of undeserved hate. I mean, he didn't even start a full year. There's no point in taking a quarterback because I feel like he has shown flashes of being something um great, and I feel like overall you can really build around him if you get the right pieces. And then we have Jordan Love, right? Yeah, or is that the last one? Yeah, we have Jordan Love. Um, yeah, I feel like that's just you can't really decide anything on him yet. He really hasn't played.
So, Mason, do you want to move to up to perennial top 10?
No, I wouldn't.
Uh,
I wouldn't just
I
put
don't
good
think you
yet.
want good. Okay. Yeah, Jordan Love, I will say though, I do could see happening as like a year or two, him getting traded to a team in starting kind of like Jimmy Garoppolo. But anyways, that'll do it, everyone. Just to read off the list, future Hall of Famers Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, perennial top 10, Kyle Murray, Josh Allen, Carson Wentz, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, good, Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa, Daniel Jones, okay, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Sam Darnold, bust, Dwayne Haskins, Mitchell Trubisky, Josh Rosen, and Paxton Lynch. Thank you all so much for watching, and until then, see you next time.